I'm Muskan from the marketing team at Datamatics, and I welcome you all today for today's exciting and insightful webinar in collaboration with Everest Group. Our topic for today is From Automation to Autonomy, How Agentic AI is Reimagining Enterprise Value Creation. Before we dive in, a quick heads up. There's a questions tab where you can drop in any queries or thoughts you have during the session. We'll make sure to address them by the end. We've also reviewed the questions you sent during registration, and we'll prioritize those right after the presentation. Also, all lines are mute per the default settings of the webinar. To make things a bit more interactive, we'll be launching 2 poll questions during the webinar, so you can share your thoughts. Plus, we'll send out a quick survey at the end. Your feedback will help us tailor future discussions to better meet your needs. We'll share the session recording and presentation deck with you all by the end of this week. Now, let's jump right into our webinar by introducing our amazing speakers, Vaibhav Bansal, Vice President at Everest Group, Shashi Bhargava, EVP Products and Solutions at Datamatics, Prachi Katyar, Vice President for Digital Technologies at Datamatics. Vaibhav, who will be our moderator for today's discussion, comes with 16 years of industry experience in AI, automation, and digital transformation. At Everest Group, he leads research and advisory work across the data automation and AI practice, covering a range of technologies, including Agentic AI, Gen AI, IDP, RPA, process orchestration, conversational AI, and process intelligence. Next up, we have Shashi, who heads the product and solutions team at Datamatics. He is responsible for identifying latest technologies in new areas for clients across verticals. Shashi has over 33 years of extensive experience on multiple technologies and various domains, and has been instrumental in the growth and setup of multiple center of excellence to drive revenue and business success. Next up, we have Prachi. With 20 plus years of experience in IT, she excels in driving digital transformation. At Datamatics, she oversees software solutions and global delivery, ensuring technology strategies align with customer needs. She has fostered innovation in AI, ML, data, cloud, LCNC, and hyperautomation, and is committed to leveraging emerging technologies for business excellence and innovation. A big thank you to Vaibhav, Shashi, and Prachi for being here with us today. Vaibhav, over to you.
All right, thanks, Muskan. Hi, everyone, and welcome again to this exciting webinar on the talk of the town, which is Agentic AI. Just before getting into the conversation, I just want to take you back to say 2023, a similar time when there was a lot of hype around Gen AI, and then over the last couple of years, we've seen everything being tried out on Gen AI. I think that hype probably peaked during the second half of 23 and first half of 2024. There's been a lot of experimentation, a lot of pilots, and at least some of them moving to production level deployments. So while Gen AI has been great, it may not have really, at least as per our experience, may not have really lived up to the hype completely. The business benefits achieved out of it have been subdued, and largely because Gen AI helped with a lot of task augmentation and assistance, but may not have led to those end-to-end gains which enterprises are expecting. So our hope now is with Agentic AI that is going to change. And that's why we see this entire conversation moving from Gen AI to Agentic AI, especially in the past 6 months or so, which is what is being reflected here in the Google Trends or search trends, which you can see. So with that, let's first try to understand what Agentic AI really is, because there seems to be a lot of confusion around that as well. So Muskan, if we move to the next one, as per at least our definition, Agentic AI is an evolved form or an kind of a modality of AI, which helps in creating autonomous AI agents, which come with a very advanced level of intelligence, decision making, learning, adaptability, goal orientation, and a number of other attributes which make these more dynamic. Uh, while agentic AI in itself may not be a completely new technology, but I think the power which agentic AI has is it brings together a lot of existing technologies, of course, including Gen AI and LLMs, and then helps orchestrate end-to-end workflows. And the idea, or if you consider the supreme state of agentic AI, is that it will lead to a lot of autonomy, reducing human intervention. Having said that, what I don't intend here is that agentic AI is not, as a technology, is not that mature today. So what I'm talking about is the supreme North Star state where all of these things will transpire. If I talk about today's situation, generally what we're seeing is task agents or single agents which can do certain tasks well using Gen AI or LLMs, but of course, the greater value will come when these agents are able to talk to each other. There's a sort of a multi-agent orchestration which they can enable, and there is a shift towards goal-based workflows which are non-deterministic and dynamic. Right. So that's something which I believe is some time away, and all of us will see how that will pan out. Moving ahead, talking about how agentic AI is really a step up from Gen AI, right? So if when we thought about Gen AI, right, so it had some key attributes. I think one very significant change which happened from the technologies which existed before Gen AI was that it could create completely new content which didn't exist before, learning from patterns in the existing training data. So that was something which was never seen before. Similarly, in terms of outcomes, it could generate new forms of content, including text, code, videos, audios, and so on, in response to some prompts or some static inputs, basically. And it was largely based on pre-training, which happened while a lot of these LLMs were getting. So that was about Gen AI. Now, how does agentic AI take it to the next level? I think the biggest value add for with agentic is it can make decisions. It can take actions. A lot of these actions were earlier taken by humans because they depended on human reasoning or human intervention or judgment, right, which couldn't be done by AI itself. It can solve problems. It can dynamically interact with the ecosystem around it to stitch workflows, to execute workflows, to optimize workflows, and it can learn from its past actions and make corrections, and that's what adaptability is. So if you take example of say a Gen AI or an agentic AI tool which is used in say in software development or coding context. So for example, Gen AI could generate code snippets for you. It could suggest any changes or fixes which need to be made to the code. It could create testing scripts for you, right? So those were the things which Gen AI could do easily. Now with agentic AI, again, a value add here is that it looks at the end-to-end software development process, right? So today, I'm sure many of you have heard of these examples where AI agents can create whole websites on their own, right? Or they could create even applications or graphical user interfaces on their own, right? So I mean, we are not very far away when the SaaS application as we know today might be history. Similarly, it can help in a lot of troubleshooting and auto deployment of these solutions after that troubleshooting. So those are the kind of changes we expect with agentic AI, which were not possible with Gen AI. Okay, moving ahead, right? So one, I think, other aspect is how it's different from all the previous generations of automation technology. So there are two key messages which I want to leave you with here. I think the first is about how you should view AI agents. So in my view, AI agents can be seen as mimicking a human organization as we see the organizations today. So if you have to take an example, right? So which you see on the left hand side here, if you take the finance and accounting function within an organization, so right, so that's your department. And then you have an accounts payable analyst, which is a persona or a role within that department. So it will be a very similar structure, which could be seen with AI agents also. Now, within accounts payable, there can be an invoice processing area or a super process. So that's where you will have your super agent or orchestration done by AI agents, and then within that you have uh, you know series of steps which are needed for ingesting invoices. So that's what your level two agent or multi-agent is. And then at the lowest level, you have just one single task, which is fetching invoices from an email, which is your level one agent or a single task agent. So that's how a similar sort of mapping can be done across the organization. And I think that's how most organizations are viewing AI agents today. Like they can replace employees. Some of them are even calling them as AI employees. In terms of span of automation, while intelligent automation, as we know, or as we knew, till some time back, that could maybe automate 30-40% of the existing processes in general. Other processes were still dependent on human effort. Now with Gen AI, I think it changed. There was an incremental benefit of probably another 10 to 15 or 20% max. With agentic AI, the hope is, this percentage goes to 70, 80, and maybe even higher in the coming days. And of course, agentic AI is not an isolated technology, like I said, right? So it will combine all the existing technologies and then help with end-to-end orchestration. So yeah, so I hope that gave you a good overview of how agentic AI is going to add a lot of enterprise value beyond what existing technologies have provided. So with that, I'll take a pause. So next up we have a poll for you. Just want to gauge where all of you are on your agentic AI journey. So Muskan, do you want to run the poll? So yeah, so basically, where are you on your agentic AI journey? And while you're responding to it over the next 20 to 30 seconds, I can share, what I'm seeing based on my experience. I think a lot of organizations are still in early stages, uh, though I would say it is, more advanced as compared to what we saw with Gen AI, because there's a lot of fatigue also, in doing POCs and pilots. So organizations are quickly looking to move to something which can add value, like a proof of value, or even trying out use cases and moving them to production fast. I know Shashi, if you have a view on this.
Good. Yeah, Vaibhav, I think we are also seeing with a lot of our customer, we are talking to them on the agentic side of it. Practically everybody is talking about agentic for sure. Many of them have gone into the pilot phase. Definitely, they want to try out the small processes that is happening. Definitely, and I will differentiate between the proof of technology (POT), what we call, and the pilot kind of a thing. So I think
Yes.
people are moving into the pilot, and we have seen few of the cases where customers have moved into the production. They have tasted the success, and now they are talking about many more cases coming out. Okay, with the different departments within the organization, and the fight is like where we can get the maximum benefit, where they can put the money in and they can take it forward from there. So that's how we are seeing it. It's yes, adoption this time is seems to be, in my view, Webov is for business purposes, for getting the business benefit is much more than what we thought we saw at the time of Gen AI. Gen AI, it was more of like bringing AI to the consumer. People were using for content generation, things like that. Some, yes, business cases came in, a lot of pieces people use it, but agentic seems to be much more serious and people are taking much more steps out there. That's my view.
Got it. Thanks for sharing your views, Shashi. Let's see what the audience have to say here. So Muskan, can you bring up the outcome?
Okay.
All right. So I think as kind of expected, so it's in the descending order, right? So a lot of people are still learning about it, almost like two-thirds of the audience here. Others are exploring some use cases, and a few of them are doing pilots. Very few have been able to think about scaling it up.
Yep.
Yeah. So thanks, all of you for taking the poll.
Uh,
Yeah.
I
Sorry.
think that's
Go ahead.
exactly what we are also seeing in pretty much in the market. I think, yes, many people are doing it, but in our interactions with our customers, and I think since we are kind of taking a lead in the agentic side of it. I think the numbers may look little different for our prospects and our customers. I would say that
Yeah.
thing because many of them are in the POC and pilot kind of a thing. So that's one difference I see it because the way we look at it, Vaibhav, very clearly, agentic is it's going to stay there. I think it will change the way the whole things are happening, all the work is going on. So everybody has to come this bandwagon. There's no choice to many of the people here. Okay, back to you, Vaibhav.
No, thank you. Thanks, Shashi. That helps. Okay, so with that, we'll move on to what are some of the key market trends we are seeing on agentic. So if I consider the overall market, and Muskan, you can move to the next one. So in terms of market size, right? So this is still a very small market in its early days, and I think the numbers which you see here are just for uh, agentic AI products, which are essentially low code, no code agentic AI platforms or pre-built agents. I think this doesn't include any sort of services or developer-oriented offerings like frameworks and some of the AI services. So while the market is small today, I think over the next 3 to 4 years, we expect it to grow at a breakneck speed. And that's what the nature of the technology is in its early days. But with agentic, we are really seeing an explosion to happen in the next couple of years. We've talked about some of the drivers, but largely apart from this entire, basically, Gen AI showed some art of the possible. Now, agentic AI, I think, has the potential to take it, to the next level. Of course, there's still a demand for overall end-to-end automation and achieving operation efficiencies, making processes independent of humans. And last but not the least, the tech is evolving very fast, right? So I think now we've seen LLMs. Like every month, there are so many new LLMs which come into the market that we've lost track of that. There are a lot of innovations happening in the foundation model space, making the technology more accessible. Even the chipsets are expected to get cheaper. So I think with all this tech maturity, the adoption should really get a boost. Uh, Now, if we talk about some of the adoption trends across the market segments, and we can move on to the next one. So, in the early days of agentic AI adoption, right, what we've seen is the functional side, the horizontal functions, they have been faster in terms of adoption, especially if you see the top four functions here: customer support, sales and marketing, HR and talent, and finance and accounting. I think these are the places where we've seen a lot of pre-built agents coming up, or a lot of enterprises investing into early agentic solutions. Uh, yeah, I think one reason I will attribute to that is, because these are relatively lower risk areas, or these are more in-house areas. So, because of that reason, I think there's a greater appetite here. But things might change. For example, F&A is emerging fast in the recent months and might actually turn out to be the biggest category here in a couple of months because of volumes and a lot of need of agentic solutions. Within F&A, something like financial reporting and analytics or accounts receivables, all these areas are finding a lot of traction. There were a lot of human steps here which couldn't be done earlier, but now with agentic, I think all of that is becoming possible. Similarly, customer support, right? So here, everything related to complaints or query resolution, or handling requests related to returns or refunds or replacements. So all of them had a lot of human intervention. Now with agentic, I think that is going to change significantly. While we still expect a human in the loop element in these processes, but I think that is going to reduce drastically. So yeah, so those were a couple of examples on the functional side. Now, moving on to the next one, if we talk about industries, like I said, the uptick on industries has been relatively low. So, Muskan, can you move to the next one? So that uptick has been relatively low as compared to functions, largely because maybe a lot of these industries are regulated, so there are still data security governance kind of concerns. But this might change soon, and if we go by past couple of months, this has already started emerging. For example, banking and financial services or insurance, right? So these are industries which are anyways ahead in terms of tech adoption, and it's the same trend which we're seeing with agentic. Say in insurance claims processing, right? So this is a use case which has existed for a while, but here also we are seeing a lot of manual steps which have existed in the past, like for claim adjudication and all of that. So that is expected to get automated with agent. Similarly, healthcare and licenses in other regulated industry, right? So there also we are seeing adoption. Uh, I think in spite of being regulated, the volumes and the opportunity here is so large that it will still this will still be industries higher on the adoption. Okay, so moving on, the last thing here I wanted to do was just to make it a bit real. Because if you look at use cases, many of these are not net new use cases. They have existed for a while. But when you scratch the surface and go one or two levels deeper, that's where you realize the real value of agentic. So this is a process which you see on warranty claims processing. So here, in scenario one, you see a process which is totally manual. And then there is a scenario two, which is automated using traditional automation or AI technologies. Basically, you can call it as a current state. So here also, while two or three process steps are completely automated, others are either partially automated or completely manual. But with agentic, what is likely going to happen is all of these become highly automated with maybe a couple of steps which will still need human in the loop for validations. But yeah, maybe 80-90% of this process can be automated. So that's the change, real change which will happen with agentic AI at a process level, at a L2 or L3 level. Okay, so with that, I will conclude this section, and we'll move on to conversation with the rest of the panelists here. Uh, Okay, so maybe I'll start with you, Shashi. Right. So we have talked a lot about AI agents and how they are going to add a lot of value. Now, one thing which I see on based on my experiences, enterprises struggling with a lot of choice out there in the market. Right. So one is you have a lot of offerings there. Right. You have agent frameworks, you have AI services, you have more ready solutions like pre-built agents or agent builder platforms, which are low-code platforms. And secondly, the question which has always existed, among organizations, whether to do it themselves in-house or take help from solution providers. So, how do you view, this situation, and how should an organization decide on these things?
Yeah, excellent question, Vaibhav. I think with this low code, no code coming in, with agent studios coming out in the market, so many frameworks coming out in the market, and especially people talking about, as you also mentioned, that you can do the code development by using the natural language pretty quickly doing thing. There's always a doubt in the mind that whether the internal IT team of the enterprise should do it or you should go to a service provider. So that is one choice which people need to make it. Agent studios are there. Yes, if it's time to market is a issue, you want to go pretty quickly out of there. Obviously, you need to get the expertise. I think the service providers have that expertise on that particular agent builder platform or how the agents are going on. What we see is still the people in enterprises are lacking the right expertise. Okay. Making a small pilot kind of a thing, a small agent, AI agent building is very easy. You can use the agent builder. People feel very happy that I could create an agent in maybe an hour's time or 2 hours' time. But when you take the practical use cases, where the business use cases are coming in, end-to-end automation, as you rightly mentioned about the warranty claim processing, which you just mentioned it, there's a lot of work needs to be done. There are a lot of tools they are required. Even like, for example, I'll give you two cases. One is like, you have some internal legacy systems, which knowledge is maximum with the internal IT guys. In that case, sometimes it may make sense to build the agents themselves because internal systems, how you can connect to them, the different kind of a tools which you need to have it. At the same time, if you're using a pretty standard kind of a thing, a lot of agent directories are there, a lot of agent stores are available. People can use those agents from the store provided by the different, maybe some hyperscalers, there are a lot of players coming out in the market. You can use that and go in a multi-agent mode and do quickly what you want to do it. It's ideally, yes, it's tough to do it. It's again depend how much expertise you have. Okay, what kind of agents you're building it, what is the complexities, how much is the internal systems are being used, what is the time of the market. So all this combination, you can decide whether to do it internally or you go for the outside. Or even the way I look at it is a lot of agent pre-built agents, vertical agent, horizontal agents will be coming out. Okay, and there'll be whole collection available by the different providers. So the ideal choice will be use those which are ready-made available to you, build certain things which are really specific to your business, your systems, use combination and go with that.
Got it. Got it. So again, thanks for that. I think basically, there's a lot of choice, but then you have to decide based on your needs. Also, seems like there's a lot of value in partnering with solution providers because you can't do everything on your own, right? So with that, Prachi, just wanted to understand from you, what have you seen in your experience? Have you really, encountered a case where a customer was confused about the situation, and how did you, then end up helping that customer?
Yes, sure, Weber. Thanks for asking that. Since we are the technology partners, like Shashi was also explaining, so we keep engaging with our customers through various means, like we do workshops, specific brainstorming sessions, and so on. And we help them not only in identifying and prioritizing the use cases that are relevant to them, but we also guide them to choose the right options to build them, build versus buy. So we did something interesting with a recent customer, which I would like to talk about. It's a leading international private healthcare organization operating in multiple countries. And we helped them with how they could leverage Agentic AI system to reduce human interventions in medical questionnaires and underwriting process. Yeah. So how we did it is we evaluated the various factors. We just heard Chachi talking about the skills, the complexity, the outcome focus, and besides, of course, being faster and cheaper. So we evaluated all those factors with the customer, and whether the first thing was AI skills, whether the required AI skills are there in-house within their IT team, the data scientists, the ML engineers, even the LCNC developers who can build and maintain agents, or whether they have experience in AI orchestration, LLM tuning, or autonomous agent architectures. Yeah. And the second important factor was the complexity of agentic solution that was to be built. Whether the agent involves multi-step reasoning or integration with multiple sensitive systems, or whether it's compliance-heavy environment, like in this case, it was a health insurance customer. And then IP flexibility along with outcome focus was another very important key factor, which needs the strong delivery frameworks and quality guarantees. So these were some of the key parameters that we evaluated together with the customer, and the deliberations on these led to the conclusion to involve the solution provider, which were us in this case, to build a solution, but working very closely with the customer. So it was a hybrid strategy for AI agent development is what we adopted. Now, coming to the actual use case, the key challenges that the customer was facing were mainly one, the underwriter spending lots of time and gathering the medical details manually, and two, the manual underwriting process itself being so much dependent on the medical underwriter experience without utilizing the system's valuable insights. So like many people in the audience who can relate to the insurance industry would know that there are broadly two parts of the underwriting process. The quote and buy journey as the first part, where the medical condition or health information of the individual or group member, whoever is registering to get the insurance policy, is collected, and appropriate MUG tree nodes. Now the MUG here is medical underwriting guidelines. So those tree nodes are selected by the underwriter based on the illnesses. Why I'm explaining this? Because it's a complex decision tree. Just to let you know, there are nearly 2,000 plus unique medical conditions that it caters to. And all of this is currently was being done by the underwriter manually. And the second part, where the underwriting decision happens, is based on the medical info that is gathered, the underwriting guidelines or rules, which stays in the rule engine, and the risk assessment. So what we did was we developed a multi-agent system that gathers the details from the individuals, collates them to extract meaningful insights, and utilizes historical data to arrive at the medical underwriting decision. It was an end-to-end solution and which covers the entire underwriting processes, focusing on automating the health information collection piece with the help of the AI-based bot, and the underwriting decisions with the help of the AI-based underwriting decision engine that we created. We implemented this solution in the environment, in customers' environment, integrated it with their processes, their existing rule engines, and their policy admin system for analyzing the historical claims and underwriting data for risk scoring. So then the process of training the AI model happened to interact with users for a small subset of the Mark III branches. And later on, it was expanded gradually to include all the Mark conditions.
Okay.
So,
thanks, Prachi. This is really helpful. Seems like your customer in this case, really had a good experience and they benefited, and I'm sure our audience from the insurance industry can relate to that. I'll move on. What I also see in the market today, a lot of concerns around agentic AI, especially among firms which are early to the journey. And I think that if our poll has to show today, I think a lot of our audience, are in that stage of their agentic AI adoption. So with that, I just wanted to understand, what are some of the key concerns our audience is seeing, and with that, we want to launch our next poll. So Muskan, would you want to bring that up? Okay, so here is the next poll question for you. So what are your key concerns that you're seeing with agentic AI? Maybe please take 15 to 20 seconds to answer this. So the first one is about uncertainty on ROI, the impact which agentic is going to have. Second one is about trust. Third on organizational resistance or internal change management. Fourth one is on regulations and compliance or data security and safety concerns. And the fifth one around the tech maturity itself. Yeah, so I hope we can bring. All right. So seems like there's a lot of uncertainty about the technology itself. I think a lot of our audience believes the technology is still evolving, which again I think is fair. There's a good technology evolution which has happened, but there are certain things which we expect to happen over the next couple of years. And then ROI, I think it's a big concern. Sorry, Shashi,
Vaibhav. Vaibhav, so I'll just add on to it. I think the technology evolving, that's very correct. Okay, and as we are seeing it, a lot of big players, hyperscalers, a lot of companies are coming in. Okay, like for example, I've been involved in some of the discussions where everybody's coming out with their own agent. Okay, how do agents talk to each other? Okay, so there's an agent to agent talking protocol is being developed. If I'm right, about 50 odd companies have come together to develop a A2A protocol. Okay, that is something which is happening. Another thing which is in the market is how do you discover the agents? Where are the agents lying? People have developed so many agents. How do I discover and use it? Can it be done in the real time online? You find out, use that agent, okay, in your process, or agents call that particular agents if the need arises. Okay, you use that agent and the commercials and everything are taken care of. Still, a lot of work has to be done, and people are working on it, and we are interacting with a lot of players in the agentic side of it. And as you rightly said, Vaibhav, yes, you are saying maybe 1.5 to 2 years, but I'm not sure it could be 6 to 9 months because the pace is really fast. People are coming in, but yes, it's maturing pretty fast. But the point which I see from the audience, yes, it is still evolving. I think in the next 6 to 9 months, you should see much more stable technology out there. Yeah, back to you, Vaibhav.
No, agree. And Shashi, we keep on hearing these new terminologies. I think every day agent registries, agent gardens, agent protocols, and whatnot, right? So I'm sure all of these are together, going to help in climbing up that tech ladder or helping with tech adoption.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, thanks for sharing your perspective on the technology part of it. I think I also want to talk a bit about the second one on that list, which was around
Okay.
ROI. So
Sure.
again, this is not something very new. I think
Mhm.
when we had similar discussions on Gen AI, also I think it used to crop up among the top one or two concerns which people had. So probably it has not gone away completely with agentic. Maybe it's even magnified further because then you are talking about a lot of interconnected systems and maybe a large number of LLM hits or uh, other resources getting consumed as a part of agentic AI. And maybe the similar benefits are not proportionate. So my view there, at least, is at least at this stage in the short term, it's not a good idea, to just apply agentic AI as a technology everywhere. It makes sense to apply where you need that human intervention, that human judgment, more difficult problems which couldn't be solved with traditional technologies. But when I consider agentic as the orchestrator, then I think it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, you have your Gen AI plus your traditional automation tools. I think if you try to orchestrate and combine everything, you will get a good ROI. So that's
Yeah.
my. But Shashi, I want to hear from
Yeah.
you.
So, Vaibhav, I completely agree with you. But one thing I'll tell you, looking at the agentic and the Gen AI, also it happened.
Yeah.
Don't make it a technology led kind of a thing.
Uh,
Make it a
uh,
business kind of a thing. There's a business process. Find out the high impact use cases which you can have. Okay, get a buy-in from the different stakeholders. It has to be business driven. It cannot be, yes, technology guys, CIO office, a lot of tech guys are there. They can do some kind of a pilot or something, but please look at the business side of it, what benefit you're getting it. Look at the tangible and the intangible benefit, because in agentic what I've seen is a lot of intangible benefit comes, like, so for example, improving the decision making, maybe improving your customer experience, maybe other stakeholders experience, which is very difficult to quantify it, but you need to look at those benefit. Is very important. Another thing I'll tell you in the ROI cases, yes, you start the agentic thing, the way the LLM market is taking the shape, okay, the token cost and the consumption cost, what we feel is going on the south side basically is going to go down. So whatever price you are incurring today, every day the new models are coming in with a different pricing structure which will meet your business cases. So we need to be flexible out there. And some cases which we have worked with the customers, we saw in a way, like, either it was a break even, it was more of saying, okay, let's do something agentic, not justifying the ROI. And maybe a week later or maybe 15 days later we find that, okay, there's a different model coming in, we can use that, which meets the requirement, a different way of doing it, and the ROI is justified. So I would say it's typically the same method. Look at your high impact cases, figure it out, the business cases, figure out your tangible intangible benefit, okay, and then go for this kind of a thing. Look at the calculation and look for ROI. Prachi, over to you, your views on that.
Yeah, I think you and Vaibhav have mostly covered it. Just one point to add there, that we should also, I mean, while choosing a use case, we should also identify the agent's scope and capabilities. What exactly will the agent do? Clarify the boundaries, the tasks it will automate, the human fallback points. So this is another, I think,
Yeah,
aspect.
so I'll add one more point to it, Prachi. I think somewhere we have seen some of the business users have a very different expectation that AI agent will come and solve all their problems. Okay,
Right.
it's not true. Like, agents also need to know that a lot of tools required. There's something logic needs to be told. Yes, they can take decisions. They're autonomous. They're goal oriented. Everything is there definition wise, very correct. But in the real life, when you go and take the agent, that agent will come and solve every problem of theirs, even the problem which they've not ever encountered, and now they encounter it. They expect agent to do it. So I think we need to set this some realistic expectation. Yes, it's maturing, it is getting better day by day, but like very first day expecting 100% result out of it, I don't think that is true. Yes, we can put the guardrail, we'll make sure that the results are not reduce the hallucination, what we call reduce many of those kind of a things, okay, can be reduced but not 100%. That's where I see the technology as of today. Maybe 6 months later it will become better, okay, but expectation from business user that it's a magic wand, you just get an agent, it will do everything. That's not so straightforward. That's my take on it.
Yeah, no, that's right, Shashi. And Shashi, on that, did you have any real world example, where you have tried to drive this, ROI-driven sort of case with the customer, and that has worked well.
Oh, absolutely. So I'll take a case. I think you talked about the warranty claim, Weber. We were working with a customer for their auto insurance claim. It's an auto
Mm-hmm.
insurance company, pretty big company, and is spread across Western world. And they once a auto insurance claim comes in, they have a surveyor who goes and does the reporting. The repair shop repairs it and sends the bill. Okay, there's a whole lot of time they were spending matching what the complaint was, how much is eligible as per the insurance policy, what the surveyor has done, given the feedback on it, what kind of things it to be done, and what actually the repair shop gives the bill with it. And many places, this case, it was like, repair shop usually gives the about maybe for 10, 15, 20 calls, they put the bill together. And there was a huge amount of manual effort required, going through line by line everything, making sure how accurate it is. Okay, like for example, it's like a bumper, new bumper versus bumper repair. This kind of a word comes in. Okay, we are depending on the manual guys to figure that out, make that change, and make sure that it's there. And that is where, when we worked with them, we developed an agent which can take all this data put together, whatever the insurance claim has come, whatever the body repair shop has sent them the bills, invoices, whatever the surveyor has told him into the report, all this thing, agent could process it. And while they were doing it, this completely manual. And with bringing the agent, we started with around 70% cases. We could do that thing, 30% going in the manual bucketing. Over a period of about 2 months, they moved around 75%, roughly 75, 77%, and they could see a very good return on it. And biggest thing was the turnaround time to process the claim has come down significantly, which used to take sometimes in weeks, depending on the availability of their agents to process it. Now, with our this AI agent, they could do within 15 minutes, half an hour. So, which was something really their customer experience value, which came in, and they definitely have a cost saving. They didn't require so many agents to work on it, and even error rate has gone down. Okay, the misses which were happening, that also agents now could catch it and could highlight it properly. So this is one use case which I mention it about it, which is giving a very good ROI. Initially, yes, we were skeptical, but we tried it, and I think the ROI is fantastic on this.
Got it. Got it. So, okay, so one question, Prachi, I had for you was, around the risk associated with agentic AI, right? So, and there could be different sort of risks, even in terms of data governance, security, and whatnot. So, how do you think, an organization can ensure that whatever they do with agentic AI that is successful, and they are able to quickly move from pilot to production?
Excellent question, Weber. Because this is one of the crucial parts that everybody knows. AI agentic projects, if not done properly, can quietly fail. So some of the pointers that how we could avoid the mistakes companies are making with AI and agent adoption. I kind of look at it in two perspectives. One is at a strategic level, what all you need to do, and at tactical level. So at strategic level, the first most important thing is blending the top-down vision with the bottom-up reality. When AI is driven only by the executives, the pilots lack frontline context. And when it's a grassroots hobby, it never clears the budget gate. So it's very, very important that we have that alignment. And also put one accountable owner in charge. Because if everybody owns AI, the tooling, the policies, the risk controls, they kind of diverge. So when you designate a single executive at AI COE level, so that head of that COE who publishes a clear RACI, then that kind of makes things much more aligned and auditable. And the third important thing is, I think you covered it briefly in one of the examples, that reset the expectations from magic to managed. Demo videos, they show an illusion of 99% accuracy on day one, but the production needs a lot of guardrails, reinforcement, data fine-tuning, etc. So that's the third one. The fourth one is also treat data readiness as day zero work and not phase two. Because its agents start without well-cataloged and permissioned, vector-ready proprietary data. And that's going to be your differentiator, to which drives the real ROI. Yeah. Another important factor is the build a buy partner, which Shashi already covered in great details. You must choose your tools and partner carefully. Also, break down the internal silos within your company, create AI champions group, which kind of facilitates cross-unit communication, and teams don't end up doing redoing each other's work. Somebody has done it, it can be reused. So these are some of the small things at the strategic level. If you take care of that, that kind of helps. And then coming to the tactical level, when you are starting an AI project, I think some very clear pointers we did discuss in some of the use cases that we were talking about. Clear business purpose needs to be defined. Then the right use case selection. It shouldn't be that, let's build an agent because it's cool. It should be very clear on what you're trying to achieve. Say 20% reduction in support tickets or 15% faster loan processing. So these kind of clear guidelines helps. And when you are choosing the use cases, choose it specifically what will be useful to you. Set up a multidisciplinary team, which is like a combination of business and tech, because it is not a pure tech game anymore. And then you need to build that trust, like we were talking about the guardrails. So Vaibhav, you asked that the kind of checkpoints that are needed, and do iterative prototyping and testing, because that don't over-engineer, because the more you think and not take the first step, you will be staying there. And the most important part would be start with human in the loop design, so that you can have the right reviews, override and guide, and have a continuous monitoring and learning in place. So that kind of will take care of any pitfalls.
No, thank you. Thanks, Prachi. I think very helpful. You shared a number of points or success factors, which enterprises can learn from. So just changing track a bit, Shashi, earlier you talked, a bit about multi-agent orchestration and agent communication. In your opinion, how, can these multiple agents really talk to each other and, they can collaborate to achieve business goals? Would you just spend a minute on that before?
Sure, Vaibhav. I think the multi-agent, I think, is the way to go. There are a lot of frameworks available in the market which can be used about it, and you cannot have, for a complex process, you cannot have a one single agent doing the whole job. I think that will be, in my view, that will be a disaster. So you need to go in a modular way to make sure agents are specific doing certain function on it. And we have implemented many of them where we have gone like, for solving one business problem, one business case, we have almost like 10 to 12 agents going into there. So it could be, one could be the planner agent, which orchestrate the whole thing. You can have execution agent, you have a communication agent, you have the evaluation agent, like, whatever the outputs agents are giving it, you are going to evaluate it. So there are like a lot of frameworks available. I don't want to get into detail. Maybe we can connect for that if somebody wants it. And there are certain other frameworks, a lot of agents were available in the market, ready available in the market, because each agent will have its own tools, own way of performing a particular action or particular thing. And that is where I think we spoke about it, agent to agent protocol, making sure agent to agent can talk to each other, pass the information, and bringing this framework of evaluator agent, communication agent, bringing together, they can work together. It's a very, very quick, I think I'm giving it, but I will be more than happy if somebody wants more detail on it, we can take it up.
Sure. Thanks, Shashi. At this stage, I think I'm just being conscious of time. So, at least want to wrap up this discussion before we take a few, questions from the audience here. And Muskan, could you bring up, that slide? So basically, I want to talk a bit about, how we are seeing, the future of agentic AI. So this is our point of view there, right? So overall, we think agentic AI adoption in enterprises is going to happen in these three phases: experimentation, proliferation, and transformation. I think largely, for most enterprises, we are in experimentation stage today, where a lot of conviction is getting developed. Proof of values and, like Shashi mentioned, POTs and pilots, are being done. A lot of development is happening around task agents, and in terms of vendors, people are trying out with existing partners, or they are opportunistically trying out with new partners. I think it's a proliferation stage, which is interesting because this is where we see relatively more scaled adoption of agents, though it will still be in siloed departments. We might see multi-agent, collaboration, or agents becoming more dynamic and goal-oriented. This is also a place where we might see sprawl of agents, different agents or different vendors being preferred in different parts of the organization. But the transformation stage is actually the most exciting and most disruptive, right? So I think once the early fruits are exhausted, this is where enterprises will start thinking about, large scale transformation or disruption in terms of people, process, and technology. This is where you could also start seeing multi-vendor and cross-enterprise agent collaboration, and agents becoming self-reflective and adaptive. There might be some rationalization in terms of providers also, because there'll be a lot of agents, and it will get difficult to manage. So that's the point of view on agentic AI adoption in enterprises. So I'll leave it at that. Just want to take a few questions from the audience here. That.
Yes, Weber. So we are seeing some questions coming in from the audience. The first one being, when cloud adoption started, enterprises did not realize the cost of moving workloads to cloud could be expensive. Now that enterprises have realized it, they are more prudent on using cloud. How do you see this playing out with agentic AI, especially with LLM costs?
Okay, let me take that thing. Very valid point. I think people move to the cloud and now they're realizing it that the cost on the cloud is more. If they want a system for a longer time, maybe the on-prem could be much turn out to be a cheaper option. But looking from the agentic perspective, I think to increase the accuracy, to make the agent more intelligent, I think more better LLMs are going to come in the market. Already you see about 2000 or 3000 models are available. There will be vertical LLMs available. There will be horizontal LLMs available. There will be SLMs also coming in. So depending on what business use case have and what the AI agent requires, the cost of LLM, what we foresee is going to come down if you choose the right LLM model, and these models will be hosted on the cloud. Okay, so you're just consuming the foundation models and different kind of foundation models, and the we foresee the prices coming down. So in my view, it will be a reverse trend than what you're seeing on the cloud. Yes, cloud prices have also come down, but agentic side definitely is going to come down. Even there are people talking about having this kind of models on premise, what we call as the edge LLM kind of a thing. Okay, that also could be there where you can always have your own SLM and the cost could be much less than that. Okay, I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you, Shashi. The next question is, what is the best way to evaluate which AI agentic use case to start with? A lot of those shared seems to be related to back office activities.
Hmm. Yeah, maybe I can take a stab at that, right? So I think in terms of evaluation of use cases, right? So if you have to think broadly about two areas, I think one of them would be overall potential, right? With that particular use case or that particular area, right? So maybe what's the opportunity size here? What's the complexity of that particular area? Is it an action intensive process? What's the ROI expected? So that's what I would call as potential. And then there's the other piece, which is more of ease of adoption, right? So where there are areas which are related to, say, data quality or data availability, data sensitivity. How critical is the process? So those are the factors which I think should get considered as a part of ease of adoption. Now, for example, with regulated industries, while the potential is high, there are some of these concerns which probably have delayed adoption. But I think these obstacles will be overcome, and they will fly. So that's my take. Again, just checking if anybody wants to add to that. Okay, maybe we can move to the next video.
Thank you, Vaibhav. The next question is, in medical underwriting scenario, how did you ensure HIPAA or GDPR compliances? Also, did you have a human review or override, especially for edge cases situations?
Yeah, sure, Muskan. I would take that question. So, for ensuring HIPAA and GDPR compliances, we have taken some very specific steps. The first one being data minimization and purpose limitation. So, only the essential data is used by the agent. Data pipelines are filtered upstream to exclude any unnecessary PII or excessive health records. And under GDPR, each data point is mapped to a specific legal basis for processing. So these some of these steps we took, and then we had role-based access and zero trust controls implemented. The PII and PHI handling in the transit and storage were basically encrypted in the transit and encrypted at rest. The data residency is enforced. No data leaves the allowed geographic zones. So we see for which customer it is happening, and we accordingly adhere to those geographic regions. And yes, human in the loop for decisioning is very much there currently. It may go off maybe sometime in future, but right now it is very much there because agent provide recommendations to the underwriters, and it's not the final decision. Underwriters do need to review agent outputs, the edge cases, which she was talking about, high risk customers. So all of these kind of human can override, and which is mandatory human in the loop. And then we also built an explainability and justification layer. So these were the kind of steps that we took to ensure that we are compliant. Our solution is compliant.
Okay, maybe we can take one more question, Muskan. Do we have time?
Actually, we are running out of time,
Okay.
Shashi.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay. So what we'll do, Muskan, is all the questions which have come, I think, which you couldn't answer on this call. I think we'll take it up and we'll get connect with you. We'll connect with you and try to give you the answer on your email or something. Okay. We'll take it offline. Now, just before we end the webinar, is just to represent what Datamatics does. I think we are deep in digital. We have basically three pillars: digital technologies, which is basically a lot of IT thing, agentic AI, artificial intelligence, intelligent automation. We have been doing this AI for last more than 15 to 20 years. And we do the whole lot of services around application modernization. We're doing the cloud operations, moving on to the cloud, and we have our own tools as well for doing the. We've got True Agent, we've got True Discovery, pretty much working on the Gen AI and the agentic technologies. We have different solutions out there. Like for example, we have True Cap Plus, which uses the Gen AI and the agentic AI to capture the data from the various documents. You can talk to your documents, you can talk to your data. So those things we have, as well as we have digital operation and digital experience, which is basically back office and the front office using the technology. We use a lot of technologies and we are bringing like our agentic agents kind of a thing. I think somebody mentioned about it, whether it's a HR operations or whether it's a contact center operations. We are bringing agentic into the picture where the agents right now are getting aided by the AI agents. That's where we are moving on to it. And depending on some cases 30%, 20%, some cases 70%. Eventually it evolves, we feel that it will go up to the much higher number, maybe 80, 90%, both in the back office as well as the front office. I think somebody mentioned about whether it's a back office only or front office. Yes, agents are going to come and play a big role in the front office, in the contact center as well. So that's a brief about us in digital. I think we are running out of the time. More than happy to connect. Back to you, Muskan.
Hey, Muskan, I think you're on mute.
I'm so sorry. So, thank you so much, Vaibhav, Shashi, and Prachi, for sharing your valuable insights with us today. Your expertise and collaboration have truly made the session enriching, and I'm sure our audience walked away with some great perspective. We understand that there is a time crunch, and some of the questions mustn't have been answered during the webinar. So, we will definitely reach out to every one of you individually from the audience, and if if need be. And if you want to connect with our experts for a detailed session or to get your doubts or queries solved, please scan the QR code on your screen, and you can fill in the quick survey form that also comes up after we close the webinar. So as we wrap up, a very big thank you to everyone who joined us. We hope you found the webinar both informative and thought-provoking. If you have follow-up questions, you can always reach out to us on this QR code or drop us a note via email on events@datamatics.com. We'll be sending out the session recording and presentation this week, so keep an eye on your inbox. Also, please don't forget to fill up the survey form that will appear after we close the webinar. Thank you so much again. Until our next session, take care and see you soon. Goodbye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.